Let's talk about 5 things I've learned since becoming a small business owner. Number 1, it's okay to learn along the way. You don't have to be perfect fresh out the gate. It's fine. Number 2 is that your people will find you. As long as you stay consistent, they can't find you if you don't post. Which leads me to number 3, stay consistent. Post about your product. Number 4, be okay with your business evolving over time. Things are going to change, so just change with it. And last but not least, trust the process and have fun with it.
Guys, I need you to realize you actually have to start doing it. Whatever it is you got in your mind, start doing it. Okay? You don't have to be great to start. You can suck at it and start. And then you realize, guess what? I'm going to be great along the way, because you don't have to be great to start. You have to start to become great at something. That's kind of how it works. But the only way you're going to really become great is by actually doing it, which requires you to be consistent. That's the beautiful thing about it, guys. Being consistent allows you to learn from your mistakes, learn from past failures and sometimes successes. And these things will benefit you in the future. And then the other thing about it is you have a consistent track record. So when somebody stumbles across your content or your video, or I don't know, whatever it is, whatever type of business you got going on, you have a catalog, you have a track record, so when people can backtrack and see your progress or how you've grown. When I started my YouTube video, what I did was the guys that I wanted to create videos like, I scrolled all the way down to their first 10, 15 videos and just watched them, how the content changed, how the thumbnails changed, right? So I know I'm going to get better along the way, but I can't get better unless I'm consistent. And I couldn't be consistent unless I started. So I want you to know, guys, get out of bed, start. I don't care if it's 10 push-ups. I don't care if it's writing down a goal. I don't care if it's telling yourself what you're grateful for this morning. I don't care what it is, but you got to start to eventually become good at what it is you want to do.
You have every single thing that you need to become a millionaire. Everything. You have a phone, you have a mouth, and you have your hands. That is all you need in 2024 to become a millionaire. And you know this because as you scroll, every single young person that you see is in a nice apartment, has a nice car, has nice clothes, and we all have the same shit in common. We all have 2 hands, a mouth, and a phone. You don't need anything else. That's completely it. So lock the fuck in. Take 6 months of recording and posting every single day. And by the end of it, I promise you on everything I love, your life will go from here to here. This is gold. Treat it as gold. Change your life. Stay locked in.
Guys, listen. If you have a smart device, let me tell you, you have so much accessibility. Okay, he said phone, hands, and your smartphone. I'm gonna add 2 things to that. 3 really. First of all, God is the most important. Okay, but you also need your eyes, right? But you really, really need the mindset. This is the one I want to talk about the most. Why? Because most people lack confidence in themselves. They have this false perception of themselves that they suck worse than they actually do. Yeah, you might suck, but it's not as bad as you think. And you have the ability to get better. But this is the thing that most people allow to stop them is the mind. They have mental blocks that will stop them from starting. But you know, another thing I want to point out is that yes, the smartphones are so important. You have accessibility to almost so many people, not almost to a lot of people. And a lot of people in our generation and culture say, oh, the cost of living is so much more. The demand is so much more. But you got to realize the smartphone has given us so much more of a supply. It's so much easier to be a millionaire these days. The average job is getting replaced by people who play video games. Why? Because of massive content. Attention is super vital. It's super important. The more eyes you get on your product, the more you have a likelihood of being able to sell it. But you need to be consistently posting and doing that and get past that mental block that you got.
Everyone seems to have a clear idea of how other people should lead their lives, but none about his or her own.
I cannot believe I had to call you a all my life in North Korea. And you guys are the loveliest in the whole world. I cannot believe literally all my life in North Korea, I had to hate you guys with all my passion. And here I am in this bright light. I was born in the darkest place in the world. In the 21st century, not to even mention what internet is, North Korea does not even have electricity. When I had a glimpse of, one light bulb of a pink line, that was a miracle. I would clap with my family, say, the light came. And here I am, surrounded by these amazing lights. How can you possibly not love capitalism?
Imagine living in a place where you're forced to think a certain way. Hey, I'm not saying the USA is the best place or any country with capitalism is the best. The only governmental system that I think will actually trump capitalism is the kingdom of Jesus Christ. But honestly, when you think about it, she was forced to hate people she's never even met before. I mean, honestly, think about that for a second. She was talking about how poor they were. Guys, the advantages you have just by being born in a capitalistic society is very, very monumental. Something you should be absolutely grateful for. I mean, there are other governmental systems out there like socialism, which I don't understand much about, but I know for sure I do not like communism. You can't speak out against the government. You can't, do certain things that allow you to get your point across or, revolutionize in a positive way, mainly because the government doesn't want you stepping out of line. They want complete and utter control over you. Now, I feel like a capitalist society allows you to compete fairly in the marketplace. If you have a product that's better than the biggest company, you release your product and you can ultimately surpass that company in power, stature, or service to the people. Just something as simple as that. Guys, capitalism has done more for you than you will ever know. Be grateful that you're actually born in a capitalistic society. And I'm not saying it's the perfect, it's the best one, but it's a lot better than a lot of other systems out there, and that's for sure.
The quote goes like this: one day or day one. One day or day one. I'll do it one day. Okay? That's up to you. Or day one.
Come on, guys. Day one. Guys, day one. It doesn't need that much explanation, man. Tomorrow's day two. The day after that's day three. But right now, today is day one. You're starting it today. I believe in you.
A wise person once said, "What surprises me most about humankind is that we get bored of our childhood, rush to grow up, and long to be children again. That we lose our health to make money, and then lose our money to restore our health. That by thinking anxiously about the future, we forget the present, such that we live in neither the present nor the future. That we live as if we were never going to die, and die as though we've never lived."
This one actually speaks to me so much. So very much. Guys, I have this innate desire in me to be successful. I can't not be successful. And I feel like I've used a lot of time in my 20s at projects that have failed. Projects that I've also quit on because I've been inconsistent. But the desire to be successful has never went away. And I feel like, man, I'm just not living. I'm not living the way I want to. I'm looking around. Of course, I'm looking on Instagram, seeing this person do that, this person do that. And I'm sitting here looking at my life like, wow, I still have a job. You know what I'm saying? And it creates this anxiety in me, and it's hard for me to control. So I'm starting to, what I do to combat that is learn to be grateful for something. Have some type of gratitude for the things I have, but work relentlessly for the things that I want. That's the balance that I'm coming up with. But to sit here and say I'm giving up, I can't. I'm sorry. If it takes, I would rather live in regret of not living my life because I failed at everything than live in regret because I settled for average. I know that sounds bad, but that's just the way it is. I have to win, okay, so that I can get rid of the anxiety and achieve my desires for success. It's just who I am, but for who you are, it might be different. You just gotta make sure you're working toward that so that the pain of regret is not as bad.
I think something wrong with my PS5. Every time I cut it on, it makes some weird noise.
What the hell are you doing?
Hey, man, that's probably a good thing, man. I'm just saying, bro. You got goals to achieve. You got money to make, bro. Let's get to it.
I probably get 50 a day of people saying, like, can I work for free for you? Number one is that if you're gonna try and do this approach, you wanna go to somebody who's 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. If you're like, hey, Elon, can I get your coffee for you? Like, Elon doesn't need you to get his coffee. There's this issue that I see amongst poor people that think that their time is worth something, and it's not. There's no shortage of low-skilled labor. Number 2 is you wanna make them an offer that's so good that they feel stupid saying no. Let's not pretend here. Like, my life is not better off because you're in it now. Your life is gonna be significantly better because I'm in it. I get this in my DMs all the time. Hey, I'd like to do this in exchange for working, alongside you. No, the whole principle of giving first isn't an offer to give first. It is giving first, period, without expectation of something back. What does Chris need? Well, Chris probably wants somebody to edit and cut his podcast. You don't offer to do that. You just do it and then send it to him. And then you keep doing it, and I'll bet you that if you do that for 100 days straight, Chris will be like, well, damn, this kid is like really, really hungry. He took the initiative. He figured out what I wanted.
So this one right here, hard pill to swallow. Very hard pill to swallow. Why? The guy said, listen, you think your time is actually worth something, but it's not. There's no shortage of low-skilled labor, which is even funny because I actually went with this approach once to one of my trading mentors saying, hey, look, I'll offer myself to move near you and help y'all in any way possible just for some one-on-one time or something like that. And he basically told me no, rightfully so, because what Alex Hormozi said is, man, my time isn't worth anything to him. He doesn't need me to do anything for him. My life gets better because he's in it, but his life is actually now more stressful, I guess, because I'm in it, But the funny thing about it is, the mentor that I'm speaking of, the person who was teaching him, he told us in the live that he was just sending out trading videos. Trading, marking up charts, that he was sending out all the charts that he marked up. He was sending them to his mentor. Eventually, his mentor reached back out to him, and that's how he became an educator on the platform. He took the initiative. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully that teaches you something. I tried the loser way by offering my services, which I had nothing really to offer, but yet he provided a service and was sending it out for free. And guess what? Got acknowledged.
I can't believe this works. They scanned the shirt. And found my Instagram.
I'm not saving my money in bank accounts. You see, I'm parking my money into treasury bills. I'm parking my money into rental real estate where I know I can go get that in the form of a HELOC or a cash out refinance. I have high yield savings accounts. Hell, I even have CDs. But the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave my money in the bank account earning 0.0000001. I would rather earn 5, 10, sometimes even 15% on that money. And by parking it into CDs, T-bills, and real estate, I can leverage the money that I'm earning by just loaning out that money to the right places. This is how wealthy people keep their money parked in the right type of places as they grow their wealth.
So I'm actually want to get into the finance space, and I actually want to give you guys a lot of financial information. The thing about money is, you got to realize it needs to be moving, it needs to be flowing. If it's sitting idle, it's doing nothing for you. Unless you have like an emergency savings, or you have an upcoming event, or something along those lines, you got to have your money flowing. Putting your money in the bank, man, I actually posted on my Instagram how every few months or so, the bank gives me a penny as interest on the thousands of dollars I had in the bank. So what I started to do is I started to say, well, I don't have CDs, I have a mutual fund, but I don't have like high yield savings accounts and all that. What I started doing was putting my money in my broker for trading. Now my broker account is a lot larger than my bank account. Why? Because I can actually leverage and use that money at any point in time. You know what I'm saying? That's my way of saying, you know what, screw the banks. I'm gonna put my money somewhere where I can actually grow it for myself.
How old are you now?
34, just turned 34.
What's the best piece of advice that you would tell your younger self? You're having a conversation with your 20-year-old self. What's the number one thing that you would tell your younger self?
So you have to understand that who you are today is a set of programs. Like your brain is a computer system, and who you are is just what your parents taught you, what your institutions taught you. If you were in religious structures or sports or anything, that's who you are. It's a program in your brain. So if you don't like your situation, you feel like you're limited, you feel like everybody else is like crushing it and you're not, it's just because your program has a virus and you have to rewire your mind. So meditation, mental rehearsal. I worked with Sports Illustrated for the last couple of years, and nobody talks about this, but like Steph Curry meditates before a game. He visualizes. Michael Jordan said it was just as important to spend time in the mind gym as it was the mental gym. Kobe believed every shot he took, it was going to go into the net. So everything's a mind game. Like that's all it is. And once you program yourself to win, you can only win. It's the only option.
The things that you consume are going to eventually become who you are. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So everything that you're thinking about is what you will eventually become. Guys, I need you to understand that if you want to change the situation that you're in, you have to pick up the books that are in line with your purpose. You have to pick up the books and watch the videos and listen to people. Change your friend group, okay? Change the content you're watching on YouTube or listening to on Spotify or Audible. Change the people you follow on Instagram. It all plays a part into the mental game. You know what I'm saying? These are some things that you're gonna hear constantly throughout watching this channel. I need you it to be ingrained in you that you are who you are because of the people you hang around, the things you engage in, and the stuff that you do, and what you think about and what you watch. All of that stuff is actually programming you. Okay, so you understand why your habits are what they are and your desires are what they are, and why you can't not do certain things because, well, you can do anything, but the reason you are so susceptible to doing certain things is because that's what you've trained yourself to do. That's why some people can only be successful because they've trained themselves to be that way. You know what I mean? You have to train yourself to be a certain type of person. And the way you want to train yourself is by being what 5% of people aren't doing. Are doing. The 95% of people aren't doing. Okay? Getting up, having a routine, exercising, taking maybe a cold shower, doing some type of reading, gaining knowledge, okay? And then they actively deny themselves something like sugars, they actively deny themselves watching funny videos or entertainment. All this stuff plays a part into you becoming an exceptional person. So you gotta get on it.